Motorola officially unveiled a quartet of new smartphones: Moto G, 2019, mid-level, Moto G7, G7 Plus, G7 Power and G7 Play. As expected, the company Motorola, owned by Lenovo, presented today in Brazil a new, 7th generation of Moto G smartphones. In short, all previously published information about the new Motorola middling company was confirmed. The Moto G7 lineup includes 4 models: the most affordable Moto G7 Play, the regular Moto G7, its advanced version of the Moto G7 Plus, and the long-running version of the Moto G7 Power. The design of smartphones is exactly the same as it was on many leaks that got into the network long before the announcement. G7 and G7 Plus new items continue the design traditions embodied in the latest devices of the company, and it will be difficult to distinguish them from last year's G6 models from behind. But in front, they are different. Models G7 and G7 Plus got screens with drop-shaped cutouts for the camera, while the Moto G7 Play and Moto G7 Power got panels with white eyebrows. Moto G7 Play also, the Moto G7 and G7 Plus can boast of metal and glass cases, and a moisture-proof P2I coating, while the Moto G7 Play and G7 Power are content with plastic cases. However, for some it may be an advantage. Only the Moto G7 Plus has received support for the new fast-charging technology Turbo Power, which provides charging at 27 watts. Only 15 minutes of charging will provide the device with up to 12 hours of battery life, but the battery capacity is only 3000 mAh, which is a bit distressing. In Moto G7 and long-playing Moto G7 Power, charging power is limited to 15 W, and Moto G7 Play fast charging is limited to 10 W, but its main camera can shoot 4K video. Parameters of new products are as follows: Moto G7 Play, the screen, 5.7 inches IPS resolution of 1512x720 pixels and an aspect ratio of 19:9. Platform, Qualcomm Snapdragon 632, memory, 2 GB of RAM, 32 GB of flash memory, battery, 3000 mAh. The cameras, the main resolution of 13 megapixels, f/2.0, 1.12 microns, phase autofocus, frontal with 8 megapixel sensor, dimensions, 147.3 x 71.5 x 8 mm with a mass of 149 Guaranis. Moto G7, the screen is 6.2 inches LTPS IPS with a resolution of 2270 x 1080 pixels and an aspect ratio of 19:9. Platform, Qualcomm Snapdragon 632, memory, 4 GB of RAM, 64 GB of flash memory, battery, 3000 mAh. Cameras, dual main with a main module of 12 MP, f/1.8, 1.25 m, phase autofocus and an additional 5 MP with an aperture of f/2.2, frontal with 8 MP sensor, dimensions, 157 x 75.3 x 8 mm with a mass of 172 Guaranis. Moto G7 Plus, the screen is 6.2 inches LTPS IPS with a resolution of 2270 x 1080 pixels and an aspect ratio of 19:9. Platform, Qualcomm Snapdragon 636. Memory, 4 GB of RAM, 64 GB of flash memory, battery, 3000 mAh. Cameras, dual main with a main module of 16 MP, f/1.7, 1.22 m, phase autofocus, optical stabilization and an additional 5 MP with aperture of f/2.2, frontal with a 12 MP sensor, dimensions, 157 x 75.3 x 8.3 mm with a mass of 176 grams. Moto G7 Power, the screen is 6.2 inches IPS LCD with a resolution of 1520 x 720 pixels and an aspect ratio of 19:9. Platform, Qualcomm Snapdragon 632, memory, 3 GB of RAM, 32 GB of flash memory, battery, 5000 mAh. Cameras, dual main with a main module of 12 megapixels, f/2.0, 1.12 microns, phase autofocus, and an additional 5 megapixels with an aperture of f/2.2, frontal with 8 megapixel sensor, dimensions, 159.476.99.3 mm with a mass of 193 grams. All models have fingerprint scanners located on the back side. You can also note the presence of USB-C ports, even for the younger model. In all cases, the OS is the new Android 9.0 without any shells. As for prices, in order of precedence for new items will ask from €150, €210, €250 and €300. The devices are available in several colors, depending on the model. In Europe, the Moto G7 models will appear in about a week or two.